Woman Waves podcast. We have got some wonderful women on today. If you'd like to introduce yourself, today we've got Sinead Harnett.
Oh, hello. Yes, that's right. That's my name. Hello,
Sinead,
wonderful
Sinead,
women.
tell us what you've been doing, what you've been up to, what you do.
I am a performing nutter. I'm singing is my profession. And I've just finished my second album, and I actually just got home to London. I'm home for like a few weeks to see family before I go back to America to put it out. So when I'm not doing that, I'm trying to entertain my friends and family in other ways and just generally laugh at these times that we're in.
Love it. I thought you were still in New York.
I literally just got back like the day before yesterday, and I'm quarantining because those are the rules.
You're such a jet setter.
I know, but I haven't been home in 6 months, so this feels really mad.
God, it must be so strange.
Yeah, in the best way.
Yeah, definitely. We've heard like one of your songs, correct? Is that on the album?
Yeah, well, there's been 3 that are from it, but the most recent one just came out, so that's the one that you've just heard because you are my lovely friends. Yeah. Oh, see, you listen to my stuff. That's very kind.
Of course.
We've also got Maham Rehman on today. Tell us about yourself.
So I'm in sixth form, and I joined Girls Network in October, and I want to study medicine. Hopefully I'll get into it next year, so I'll go uni hopefully next year. And recently I've been trying to work on my confidence, which is why I joined Girls Network, and I've been trying to post more on my social media platforms, and I've started reaching out to some brands and stuff. And with that, some brands have also started collabing with me, which is quite interesting. It's really, really weird though, because literally a few months ago, I didn't even post, and it was so scary. But now that I've started, I kind of don't want to stop. So
yeah.
It's a journey, but it's really, really exciting. I'm looking to get a bit more out of it. So hopefully I'll try reaching out to some like makeup artists, or some brands have like started reaching out to me instead, which is really weird because like if I go on my Instagram and I see people following me, I'm like, where are these people coming from? But it's also a bit exciting because obviously I didn't expect to actually end up doing it. It was more of just an idea, but now that it's happening, like I'm just going with the flow, I guess.
And what type of content are you putting up? Are you doing like fashiony stuff?
I think it's more to do with like fashion and makeup, confidence, like kind of like awareness of what's going on, like the things going on in the world, with a bit of like feminist touch here and there.
Like a blog type thing.
Yeah, I think that's probably the vibe I'm going for.
And who have you collaborated with so far?
So I'm a hijabi, so there's some modest brands that have reached out to me and have like let me try on their like dresses and stuff. And there's another brand, and they want me to see some pictures for their website. Nice. So I'm gonna be doing that over the next few weeks. I think what I'm also looking to do is just like reaching out to like smaller brands on like the smaller brands and helping them grow and helping them like find customers and stuff, because I know that in lockdown it can be really difficult to get customers. So I feel like a lot of people need help advertising and promoting their products. So that's kind of what I've been doing the past couple of weeks.
Well done.
Amazing.
And finally we have Charlie from the Girls Network.
Hi, lovely to join you again. I'm CEO and co-founder of the Girls Network, and we are a mentoring charity for 14 to 19-year-old girls from the least advantaged communities around the country, matching them with professional women who act as mentors over a year to build skills and confidence, and also to open up networks and opportunities that the girls might otherwise not have access to. So much like Maham said, having mentors there to support, build up confidence is a really key bit of our work. And it's been brilliant, Maham, seeing how you've used Instagram as a way to sort of do that and put yourself out there. I also think it's very telling of the time. You got an insight there into juggling sort of enterprising things that some of the girls and young women we're talking to and working with are starting up alongside schoolwork. Going back to school now, having all the testing and having to sort of navigate a lot more as well, having uncertainty about the future, not necessarily having exams, not necessarily knowing what's going to go ahead in terms of university. So it's a really challenging time, and it's amazing seeing how young people are rising to that challenge and taking on lots of new things. Our International Women's Day campaign, which we've got running at the moment, is called Save the Class of 2021, in recognition of that, and saying actually it's been a really tough year and we know that young people are going to suffer the most from it. So actually let's make sure we continue to support them with mentors, with opportunities, and don't forget how challenging it's been for them, and make sure they don't lose out because of it.
That's amazing. And Maham, how would you say your confidence has built since you joined the Girls Network? Like, what would you say is the biggest change you've noticed?
So obviously I wouldn't have been able to do any of it without my mentor. So a massive, massive shout out to her. And we're literally so similar. It's really, really, it's so weird because when I got paired up with her, I wouldn't have ever thought we're as similar as I realized that we now are. So it's kind of like having an older sister that's exactly like you, being through very, very similar things. But I think the biggest thing is, just like, before, I started Girls Network, I didn't like my face being anywhere. I didn't like posting or anything. And what me and my mentor decided to do was post on Instagram because it seemed really small, but it made quite a big difference. So I was on the phone with her and we were like, okay, let's just post, okay? And I was shivering. I was literally shivering and my heart was beating so fast I couldn't do it. She was like, just close your eyes, press the button. And I did it. And after that, it was like, I couldn't stop. And then I carried on. And now I kind of like have a schedule that I would try posting this much in a week or in 2 weeks, or
Wow.
it's just like in a couple of weeks, even in like a month, a lot has changed, and it's changed so quickly. But it's all because of my mentor, and she's helped me so much. Like we've connected with a few mentors, and one of them, she has a she has a brand she has like an Instagram business, and she sells bags. And we've connected to some like people that work in marketing, and we're trying to connect with more people as well, because I feel like one of the really important things that would help me right now is networking and just listening to other women's experiences. So we've tried connecting with like some models, people maybe that have like experience in the industry, maybe have their own modeling agencies, makeup artists, that kind of thing. And it's been a bit difficult because obviously everyone's working from home, like their schedule's just a bit, everyone's life's just completely gone crazy, yeah. But it's been really good, and I mean I couldn't have done it without her. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. It really does. So Sinead, how did you manage to get your foot in the door, and have the confidence to be able to go out there and do your thing?
Do you mean in terms of social media?
In terms of your career.
Okay, just because Maham was speaking about Instagram, so I wondered if you meant like that sort of world. But they go hand in hand, don't they, anyway? But it's been a long journey. And when I first, I went to university to do an acting degree because I knew that I had to do something where I was like present, but not having to be me. Because I think when you're a teenager, I don't know if you're in sixth form, Maham, how old are you?
I'm 17.
Okay, yeah. So I went to uni obviously a year older than you, and like I don't know if you ever feel like this, but when I was your age, I used to like not, I didn't know myself like I do now, obviously, because there's more years to get to know yourself, but I always felt like I just wanted to do anything where I didn't have to address that and I could just, I don't know, escape and like have fun or whatever. So even though the degree was hard, and I definitely had fun because I got to like perform. And then I made a YouTube account in my final year and like would start performing, like doing gigs and stuff. Um, I was a singing waitress at one point, which was hilarious. Like literally serving bangers and mash and then singing Walk On By.
I would
And
love
like
that.
sometimes people would be like, "Oh, that's nice. She's singing," as they ate. And other times they'd be like, "What is going on? I'm just trying to eat an English breakfast. What is this guy doing?"
Were you meant to be
so,
singing
yeah.
to them, or was that your choice?
Good question.
No, like the people that owned the restaurant found out that I sung and like found a song on YouTube. So then they said, "Oh, can you start singing here? We'll give you £20 extra."
No way.
So I did that, and yeah, it was just always such a big hobby. And I think that's a really important thing that we probably all share. Why do we do all of this? We've got such a love. It's for the love of it. So because there was such a love for it, I would always do it as like whether it was coming through in my job or I was going and recording with my friend back in London and would get that mega bus back and forth so that I could go and record. And then so finished uni and then it became my job. And back then social media didn't really matter. You know, we had things like MySpace and Twitter was just like becoming a big deal. So I didn't face those same pressures that maybe Maham might have felt. It sounds positive, actually, your journey on IG. But I think if I had that as well as being so confused about who I was, it would have been even harder. But yeah, so I'd say it's just been persistence, working through the really hard days and hard years, and just never giving up is how I feel like I got my foot in any doors. I still sometimes think, what is my foot doing? But I think we all wonder what we're doing, and we're all winging it to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember, like, what was your first memory of, like, discovering that you really could sing? Do you know what I mean? Like, was there a moment where you were just like, actually, I could earn a living from this?
There was a few moments of delusion as a child. I remember when Britney was big, and I just actually watched a documentary. Have any of you seen it?
Yes, that is so. It's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah, bless her heart. It's the music and the entertainment industry is can be awful. But yeah, do you remember Hit Me Baby One More Time? Like,
yes.
I've spoken about this before, but there's a bit where she goes low and does this riff, and I remember I could do it, but my sister couldn't, and then that's when I thought, oh, maybe I can do this singing thing. But then I started to go into delusion where I was like, I'm actually as good as Whitney at like age 7. Like, but I think when I thought it could be a career, never. It just luckily started to happen. I just loved it. I whether it was going to be a career or not, I knew I would do it forever.
But you have worked your socks off to get where you are. It is the persistence. You're right.
Yeah, as we all have, which is why we're the women we are. Look at us. It's nice. Like we just, I think all of us, I've obviously only just met Charlie and Maham, but this drive that we all have for whatever reason is what's getting us to where we are, I think.
Definitely.
I think it's a common misconception as well, isn't it, that success just happens and people forget to talk about the hard work that goes in. I mean, it helps when you do something you love.
Yeah. The hard work also isn't just, I was saying this to someone yesterday, like the hard work isn't just the actual craft work, like the working at your skill. It's also the getting yourself out of really bad like places, like really the bouts of doubt and like the bouts of when you feel depressed or whatever, like just getting out of bed sometimes is hard work. So it's like it's emotionally and mentally hard work too, just to put yourself out there repeatedly and to have faith that there's a reason why you're doing this, because I think a lot of us have imposter syndrome at some point in our life, or like just, you know, the ego can trick you into to thinking you're not good enough and stuff, and we have to also fight through those things, not just actually get the craft better.
Absolutely.
But I'd love to ask you guys that same question, like, how did you get to where you are, and did you face like obstacles that sometimes you thought, why am I doing this?
I mean, yeah, I think definitely exactly like what you're saying. I think everyone has imposter syndrome to some extent. I think like I was really shy in school, and I think that stopped me probably from doing a lot of things earlier on, because you kind of think, you know, you have to be quite loud and confident to do these things, but actually it's learning that you can still be quite quiet and do what you love to do. Do you know what I mean? It's not like you don't have to necessarily be the loudest person in the room. I think it's just about learning to like follow what you do anyway, and overcoming that anxiety as well. We were speaking about it last week, weren't we, Leash, on the episode, which was like, sometimes that fear or that horrible feeling before you're about to do something stops you from doing it, when actually if you just like get through that, you come out the other end and you realize actually it was so much more worth it to just stick at it.
And sometimes the nerves are because you care so much that you're like, if I don't get past the nerves, then what am I doing?
Yeah, it's a reminder it's worthwhile, right? Like, I care about this because it matters.
Yeah.
And if I'm never feeling nervous or worried about the outcome of something, am I really doing something I care about? And then is that really how I want to invest my time? Or do I want to invest in something that matters to me if I don't do it well, that I care about the outcome of?
Yeah. And it's like, it's really difficult. I've found it, and maybe a lot of you guys have found it, that like having confidence in yourself is such a massive part that it plays in getting you to where you want to be. But it's so difficult to get the confidence up if you know, you don't know how to, or you don't know where to get it from, or you know, it's all about learning about yourself. And I definitely had no clue who I was when I was your age, Maham. Like, I had no idea. So I think knowing what you want to do, Maham, at this age is incredible to give you the confidence to keep moving on up.
Yeah, I feel like what you guys are saying is exactly like how I've been feeling. I think the problem with me is I'm really I need everything to be a certain way. Like I would describe myself as a perfectionist. Like I just need everything to be a certain way, and if it's not, then I just rather not do it. Or like, for example, if I'm out with my friends and they want to take pictures, I rather just not take them. Then after I think, okay, but what if I just took them? What if I liked one or two of them? I should have just taken it. So like now I'm trying to like change the like what you guys are basically been describing is go for things, and if I don't like it, I don't like it. But if I don't do it, I won't ever know. So what I normally find is I don't let people take pictures of me, but once they've taken it, I like what I'm seeing. It's just that initial anxiety or fear. It stops you, but once you kind of just change your mindset, almost, is like whatever you do, if you don't like it, you don't like it, but at least you tried.
Yeah.
So you won't ever regret it.
Sometimes the fear of the unknown as well, right? Like
Yeah.
you catastrophize what might happen, and actually, even when you think about the worst case scenario, often there's a way from it, and there's something you learn from it, and it's not as bad as you think. But when it's all unknown and you kind of can't engage with the possible outcomes, it's too terrifying, and you just don't start because you just think, well, what if?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it's so true. Are any of you into or watched any Jim Carrey speeches?
Yes, they're brilliant.
They're so good. He said something yesterday that was just, well, no, sorry, I watched him say something yesterday, and it was about how we choose things, sensible or whatever things to do out of it's fear masked as practicality, and we don't necessarily believe we deserve things, so we don't dare to ask the universe for it, right? And I just thought, if only I'd met this man when I was 10 and he told me this stuff, but that's another thing actually with confidence, when we were all saying that it's not easy. Like, obviously I would have loved to have met Jim when I was 10, but now how I feel is part of my journey, and that's okay that I'm older feeling finally that I know myself. And some people like Billie Eilish is just an absolute phenomenon to me. Like, how can you be that good at, I think when she first came out she was 13 or something, like
Yeah, she was really young, wasn't she?
yeah. So like it's so true, because our confidence and our acceptance of ourselves is based on so many different factors that are so varied for everyone. And you know, because one would argue, oh, if you had like really encouraging family, then maybe you'd be more confident, but sometimes even with that it takes time. So having faith in your own journey, and that when it comes it's right for you and stuff, and just really having faith that it will is so important.
Yeah, definitely. It's like the fear of success as well, isn't it? I think it's often like spoken about, the fear of failure, but sometimes even like when you achieve things, it's like you're so used to kind of playing yourself down or whatever, that when you do get these accomplishments, you don't really know how to deal with it, so you play down your achievements often. And I think that's something to overcome as well, because it's not really spoken about as often, I don't think.
That reminds me of another quote by Marianne Williamson. You know that have you any of you seen Coach Carter?
No, I don't think so.
It's the one where they say it's our light that scares us more than our exactly what you're saying, and like because we ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, and then it's like, but who are you not to be? Because if we don't share our light, we actually don't uplift others, and we're supposed to. And that's hard sometimes, accepting praise and accepting our glory.
It is really.
It can be uncomfortable, can't it?
Definitely.
To be able to acknowledge that about ourselves and say, yes, I've done this well. I think we're also conditioned to not do it. It's particularly, you know, I don't know, it's entirely gendered, but particularly as women, I think sometimes we're expected to play ourselves down a bit and be a little bit quieter about our successes, because it's not seen as palatable to say, do you know what, I'm great at this. It's one of the things we spend quite a lot of time with our girls, and actually our mentors as well, trying to get them to say what they're good at. There's an activity I'll often do at information sessions when we're talking about building up confidence, and the reason why it's actually really useful, because sometimes if you don't tell other people what you're good at, they may not put in the time to recognize it, and then you miss out on opportunities. So I'll ask people to initially in pairs, and then for those that are feeling confident enough in front of everybody, stand up and just say, I am good at. And it's really, really challenging, not for everybody, but for a lot of people. And there are a lot of caveats. I guess I'm quite good at. My friends tell me I'm good at. And it's like, no. I am good at. And it's a really simple phrase, but it is so challenging sometimes just to own that. And it's that thing about knowing yourself, coming back to that, actually knowing what you're good at. And it gives you, I think, the freedom to know what you're not good at as well. And to say, well, I have confidence, but I know I'm good at this. I know I'm not so good at this. And I can then spend time doing the things I'm good at and enjoying that. And the things I know I'm not good at, that doesn't feel so scary anymore, because I know that's not sort of damning of me as a person being terrible. It's just the things I'm not so good at. And if I want to be better at them, I can try and probably fail and learn and get advice and help. But I think that combination gives you some of that confidence and self-assuredness, probably.
I've just Googled what caveat means, and I have to say your vocabulary is astonishing.
Thanks, Sinead. It's probably too much time spent doing crosswords in the Times.
I'm going to pull out caveat soon and turn some heads.
Absolutely.
And what does it mean, Sinead? Because I'm in the dark.
It's beautiful. A warning in joining one from certain acts or practices, or an explanation to prevent misinterpretation. So I guess it's like in that sense, it's like, oh, look, I don't think I'm really good, by the way, but like, I'm quite good at. I can sort of play violin.
Yeah.
Like doing that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's also telling other people that they're good at stuff as well, I think, is really important, because like you're saying, if someone, especially like the younger you are, if someone tells you, oh, you're really good at that sticks with you, and then you think, oh, maybe I could do that. So it's important to always like share that support, I think, whenever you can. Did you find, like, when you were first started, Sinead, did you have quite a lot of like support with your music?
Yeah, I guess it's hard to remember, but I think the support mostly comes when something's really good, and you can't you don't know what's good, because for me, I feel like from many other videos that I've watched, like TED Talks by the woman that wrote Eat, Pray, Love, that taught me that I'm just the vessel. I'm not like, I'm not some godly figure that's like, oh, I can write poetry. It just, you get inspired and then it comes through you, and I'm just someone who lets it out. So, because then that helps with you not worrying about when your next good thing's going to happen, which is what this woman was saying. So when something's really good, that's when the praise comes. Especially, you know, when something's good when other artists compliment me. That's when I'm like, I remember one of my songs about 2016. I remember like Emily Sandé messaging me and being like, this is beautiful, and I cried, because this is when I was like, I can't, why am I doing this? Like, I wanted to give up, and then I thought, she's one of the best artists of our time and songwriters, and it just, so yeah, so it does come, but I think it comes when they really mean it, and then like obviously your fans are always loving, but yeah, praise is definitely something that I think has improved amongst women along the years, because it's become very girl crush, and like, we've been so encouraged to be strong, and there's artists like, you know, Lizzo and Beyonce who always talk about girl power, and obviously even the Spice Girls and stuff. So I think that's nice that we're encouraging each other to be vocal about our strengths, which is great. I do, you're so right, like when you love something, tell someone, because it could really change their mood and even their intentions in life.
Has that been a similar thing for you, Maham, where, I mean, it must have been, because you wouldn't have posted on Instagram otherwise if you hadn't been given the confidence?
I feel like with me, it was just okay, just like get it out there and see what would happen. Because with me, I knew I didn't want to, because I would want my feet to look a certain way. I would want things to be a certain way. So I just never wanted to, because of the what ifs, like we said before. But it's kind of like once you start, like, and like we were talking about before, it's almost like I'm putting myself down that, oh my God, but why are people starting to follow me, or why are people starting to like my things if I don't even know them? So it's a bit weird, but you have to almost say that, okay, but I've been putting in the hard work, I've been putting the time and effort into it, so there is an outcome out of it. And I think, like I said, without my mentor, I feel like I wouldn't have been able to do it at all, because we were kind of like, okay, what about if you do it, I'll do it with you, kind of thing. And I feel like a lot of people, it wasn't just because I get the praise thing, that when people tell you that, you know what, you should do it, you should do it. But I don't know why, but when it came from her, it was just a bit different, because it's kind of like, you know how she was saying like your fans are always there to praise you, but when there's someone like another artist or whatever, they say that your work's really good. It was similar, like I mean, my mentors were not obviously I'm not a mentor, but because we're similar, like similar people, and we like similar things, it was kind of the same thing where, because she was there and I felt like I could fall back on someone, it gave me the more like inner confidence to just be like, you know what, go for it. If it goes wrong, then I can just go and tell her about it, kind of thing. So I feel like the most important thing is that you shouldn't be scared to do something.
I think there's that thing, Maham, about like the first thing doesn't have to be perfect as well. Like it can be a work in progress, right? So if you're terrified that you're talking about having a perfect feed, and the kind of fear that it's not going to be exactly how you want it straight away can sometimes stop you doing something. But the accepting that you can do something and then make it better and do something different and add to it. It reminds me of this lovely practice in some of the schools, particularly in America. I think it's part of a bigger piece of project learning, but they talk about beautiful work, and the idea that often in school you do a bit of work, it gets a grade, and that's it. So, you know, you get an A or you get a C, and then your piece of work is great or average or whatever. The idea of the beautiful work is you get your grade and your feedback, and then you have a chance to work on it and improve it until everybody's work is beautiful. And the idea is that it both teaches you that everybody is capable of beautiful work, but also that life isn't about the first thing being the ultimate outcome. Actually, you can learn and grow and iterate and make things better. And I guess, Maham, what you were sort of saying there made me think of that actually you do your first post, you see how it goes, you see what the response is, and then you think about what you want to do next and how you grow and build on that.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. Because say the first time I post, I might not like the way I've taken the picture. And at the end of the day, it's not that like that catastrophic. Like if I don't like it, I can just archive it, post it, like take another picture, post it again. Is not is before when you're so scared about doing something, you make it seem like it's going to be such a big issue. But once you actually do it, you realize actually, hold on, like it's not that deep. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But at least I've done it, so I'm not going to regret not starting, kind of thing.
Yeah. I just want to go back to what that thing that you said, Charlie, about work, and they said you have to keep working it until it's beautiful. Do you not feel that, like, with like especially art, I know in acting, I guess in singing, maybe Sinead, that the work that you do is so personal that how could it not be beautiful in the first place?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I mean, I think the context of this to some extent is, I saw this mostly in primary and early secondary school where perhaps you were working on particular things in grammar, for example. And so, of course, if you produce a work and it's your best bit of work, that's wonderful. But actually, if you're trying to meet certain criteria and you haven't the first time, you have a chance to do it again. I think the other element of it is that you have sort of peer feedback, and you also give your own feedback and you reflect on your work yourself. Because I think you're right, and particularly in the creative arts, yes, absolutely. Like, it's very subjective. Who is to say what is and isn't beautiful? But yeah, I think it's more that kind of I can produce my best thing, and it doesn't have to be straight away.
Yeah.
I guess it's quite good to know, like, as well, in terms of school, like exams and stuff like that. I think things like that should be taught more in terms of, often you're made to think if you don't get the certain grades or GCSEs or whatever in school, then your life is going to pan out a certain way, and that's kind of it. When actually, like, you can still do anything after school. It doesn't really affect what you can achieve out of life. And I think there's such a... I don't know, I know for me when I was in school anyway, that was kind of what we were made to believe. I think it's getting better now, more and more so, but there's still quite a way to go with that, I think.
Yeah, I think it comes back to Sinead's point earlier about persistence as well. So, there will be some careers that if you don't get certain grades at A-level, it's slightly harder to get onto the course and get into that career. But you're absolutely right, it doesn't shut the door. If you really want to do it, you persist and, you take more exams or you go in a different route. I think medicine's a good example for that, actually. It's really competitive and you need to get certain grades to be accepted onto the course. But you can do your A-levels again, you can do foundation years, I think, at university, you can do a biomedical degree and transfer over. There are ways of doing it if you persist and if you really want to do it.
I was going to ask Maham how you do you ever find the apps addictive? It can be tricky not to take on those like opinions or like something that's the most liked or whatever and not sometimes get a bit swept up in it. I've had to put apps into like a box and like I'm just like, this is part of my job and it's a really big part of me getting heard, because there's so much talent out there and there's so many people that don't actually go for singing careers that are phenomenal singers. Like, you see them on YouTube, sometimes someone's just filmed a homeless man in America singing amazingly or whatever, but he didn't necessarily have the opportunity to go for it, but he's amazing. My point is, like, if you have the opportunity, you also have to fight to get heard, because there's so much talent that is also fighting to get heard. And that's why social media now, obviously being such a huge part of today, and so potentially unhealthy for us, for me to get to grips with it and me to have control over it rather than it control me. And Alicia, we spoke a bit about this, because now that your series is out, you might feel more of an expectation or whatever to be showing what you're doing or whatnot. And you said to me, sometimes I just have to put the phone down and I can just be present again and not get swept up in it, because it's such a huge part of our careers now. I think for me, putting it into a box and being like, cool, I've done it, right, next, now I'm going to go outside and I'm going to be living my life. I'm not going to be controlled by what people are saying or like that sort of stuff. I think it's an important thing to discuss, and there are more discussions on it, which is great. And everyone, it's kind of like a guilty pleasure, isn't it? Because everyone knows it's bad to be scrolling all the time, but because it's part of our job, it's can be hard not to get a bit tempted into that.
Yeah, I think I've definitely had like when it was all happening and the show had just come out and everything was popping off, I had this massive high of like, oh my god, everybody loves it. I wasn't reading the reviews, but I knew other people were reading the reviews and sending them to me and going, these are really good, people have said it's really good. And it was just getting higher and higher, and I was like, oh, this is sick, it was so great. Woo! And then like now that it's done, because it's all on social media, it's just a massive low. Like the higher you get, the lower you can go, like straight after. And it was just like I needed for like a couple of weeks until I like got myself present again. I needed the reassurance and the validation that I was getting through social media. And I was trying to get that in my current life, which wasn't on social media, and was finding it very difficult because they're not my fans. So yeah, I get what you mean, Sinead, and I've definitely found it quite difficult, especially because it is, like you say, a huge part of the career.
How do you deal with that? Like where you feel like you're getting too dependent on social media for validation? Are there things that you do that help you to find validation elsewhere or find validation in yourself?
Meditate, do a bit of yoga, take myself on a walk.
Yeah.
It's really amazing that you're talking about this as well, because I think for like anyone that's listening, or like, you know, artists and young creatives, I think hearing you guys say this is so good, because you're obviously so talented anyway in what you do, and I think it's just reminding yourself that that's why you're doing it. Like do you know what I mean? Like the whole social media side of it can work to an extent, but actually as long as you're doing something because that's what you're passionate about, that's what you love, that's what, you know, you want to tell stories through music, through acting, whatever, I think as long as you stick to that, that's, you know, you can't go wrong. And all the other stuff, it kind of, and yeah, it's just really cool to like be open about that, because I think so often, you know, people, they don't realize that, and they see people that have got a big following and think, oh god, like I'll never be like that or whatever, but when actually, you know, it's just about following your passion, and that's enough.
And I wish that along with Jim Carrey being in my life as a kid, I wish that I also knew that life's biggest like achievement is learning to accept and actually like who you are, and understand that, you know, I have these struggles because of this, and I have these defaults because, you know, of things that I was not taught or didn't let go of. And if I'd known that, then I would have. The difficulty with social media is it became, as Alicia said, it became a new way to be like, oh yeah, no, I am good, or oh, I'm awful, what the hell was that, like, and then it became a distraction, and so for me the way to get away from it was to be like, I'm on a journey of accepting and loving myself. Social media is not real. Like, of course people can love what you're doing, but the actual world of the internet is very different to the feeling you get when you have fresh bed sheets, and the feeling you get when you hug a baby or stroke a puppy. Like, making sure that nothing gets in the way of, but I need to work on me, because scrolling isn't working on us. Scrolling is a horrible vortex of nothingness and numbness, even the high is not real, because as you say, you crash back down. Oh, they like that, did they? Yeah. So I think that's a good way of just being like, okay, it's quite Buddhist actually to be like, right, okay. There's this thing where you're meant to say, is that so? Like, not be too high or too low by anything, and just be on this consistent path of, this too shall pass, these good times pass and these bad times pass, but it's about me figuring out who I am and finding the real joys of life, which, as you say, are going for walks and like getting those endorphins from human connection.
I guess it's a bit about what's in your control as well, isn't it? Like, what's going on social media and people's opinions are completely out of your control, but it is within your control to go and stroke a dog, go for a walk, work on yourself, like you say.
Yeah, and it's so right, choosing what to listen to. Like, what is the truth? The only truth is, am I a good person, and do I agree with what I've done, and do I like it? And sometimes even that's hard, because we can get quite lost in, like, it's not always easy to figure that out. But have I been true to myself, and am I looking after myself? Those are the questions that we need to ask.
I think sometimes it's also like, are you doing it because you like it, or is it because that's what other people want to see? Like, sometimes is important. Like, some people, it's often quite easy to get caught up with like views or likes or shares. But I think sometimes it's important to realize why, like, think about why you actually started doing it, because you enjoy it, because it's fun, and not to get caught up with things to do with social media, and just remember that you're doing things because you enjoy it, and you're just trying to like have fun out of it, be creative with what you're doing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Sinead.
Yeah.
A lot of your songs are about love.
Yeah.
Is that something that you have always kind of wanted to write about, or is it something that you've done based on, like, your own life experiences, and it's just kind of come to you? Is writing like a kind of release form in a way? That was about 10 questions in one.
Yeah, so this woman, Elizabeth, on TED Talks helped me so much, because she wrote Eat, Pray, Love, and then that went huge, and people around her would say, oh, you're a bit worried, how are you going to beat that one? And she was just like, this is giving me terrible anxiety. Yes, how can I top this? And so she had to really do research and like find that and discover that it's not about, is this good? It's just carrying on living life as fully as you can, and being inspired, and then not judging what comes out. That helped me so much. I can't write if I don't feel, which is why I have to live my life. And when I force it, it's never really, it's never good. So yeah, love has inspired me, not only relationship love, but like as in with a lover, but also like family and friends and stuff that they've been through. To me, it is the most important thing in life, and the thing that the scientists can't work out. So that's why it's come through a lot. But it's definitely a need. Like, I have to do it to feel my purpose is being fulfilled. I think we all have, like, whatever our passion is, we sometimes feel a bit lost if we're not able to do it. So yeah, it's definitely something that I feel. Did you ask me if you feel that it's therapy? I can't remember the last thing you said, Bran.
Yeah, like a form of therapy to kind of, get like a healing form.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think because I've been doing it for so long now, it's been like 8+ years. I am kind of looking forward to having a break and like just living a bit and like traveling maybe. I mean, it's hard right now, but because it's been as much as I'm very grateful, the first 5 years for me were really hard, because as we were saying before, I didn't have any confidence. There was a lot of past trauma that I hadn't addressed, and I hadn't been able to really deal with yet, because obviously I went straight from uni into, oh, now I've got an opportunity, I need to make music work, but I didn't really like myself, and I was, it was like I needed to mourn a lot of like my younger self almost in order to become my older self and like adult self. So although it's been hard, and you know, those 5 years were really, you know, like standing in a studio and being like singing in front of people, that was like, I didn't know what anxiety was really. Mental health wasn't so widely discussed. So I was just like, what is wrong with me? Why is my heart beating? Why am I so embarrassed to be here? Why can't I sing in front of them? Why am I so bad at this? Like all of these questions. But then again, you know, had to have faith that you would get to the good times, which did happen. But anyway, long answer to your question. Yes, it's therapeutic. Yes, I'm grateful for even the hard times. But actually keeping a journal and doing things completely outside of music. I don't know if any of you have watched Soul.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like who are we without our passion? Like all of that stuff as well, all of that good stuff. So
for sure. Yeah.
it's a journey that we're all on. But that might be good actually. Do you guys, what do you do outside of your craft that you feel helps you grow and like feel good?
I write a thing every single day. I write down my likes, my dislikes, like 8 under each, and then my like what I'm grateful for that day. Every day. I thought it'd be good to write my likes and dislikes because just to remember what it is, like who I am. Like even if you're going for a walk and you see a flower and you're like, that is not a nice flower compared to the other one I saw last week. So that will go down on the list.
I think that's so good, writing what you're grateful for as well. That's like the key to happiness. In like almost every book that I've read, like self-help books or whatever, every single answer to like what happiness is just feeling grateful. So I think writing down lists of like what you're grateful for every day is definitely a good thing to do, separate to like, you know, our passions. And yeah, you're so right. Like if you don't have other stuff going on as well and you're just kind of, you know, I think we've spoken about this before again, but like when you're constantly like, I need to do this because I want to be a singer or an actor or whatever, you miss life, and then you don't have as much content to then be able to like offer in your art. So you're just kind of, you know, a bit of a shell.
Yeah.
I guess for me it's sort of the flip side, because I mean there's lots of creativity in my job, but it is also running essentially a business, although we are a charity. And so there's a lot of spreadsheets and a lot of to-do lists. So I guess the things I do for myself, singing, I sing in a choir and in small groups, and that for me, that kind of creative outlet. And if I'm not singing, I find I sort of end up finding a way to be creative somehow, be it writing something. I've done a lot of rewriting of lyrics for friends' sort of birthdays and things, just because I just realize I need something to do to create and make. And I find that that's good because it's very absorbing and it takes my attention, but it's completely away from work, and it's completely away from any worries, and it's just focusing on the thing I'm doing now. So that I find for me really helps. I also see a therapist every fortnight because I started doing it 3 or 4 years ago, when I was struggling with anxiety. And I think to your point, Sinead, about, you know, people not talking, was it you, Sinead, that said that people not really talking about anxiety and not knowing what's happening?
Yeah.
And I think, you know, that's a real problem, because if no one's talked about it and you start having a panic attack or feeling anxious and you're like, God, I feel like I'm having a heart attack, maybe something's wrong with me. And no one's ever told you that that's a thing. I digress slightly, but I think that's a problem that people don't speak more openly about it. Anyway, therapist for that was great. And I just carried on because for me, there's something about the discipline of putting aside time where I'm just thinking about me and how I am and how I'm feeling, and I think that for me has been a really healthy practice as well, and I need that discipline, otherwise I won't do it.
I feel like for me, a lot of my life right now is revolved around education because sixth form is really stressful. It's a lot of work. but I've been joining some medicine talks, and some like lectures from unis and stuff. And a lot of what they say is, oh, if you want to do medicine, your life can't be just entirely medicine. Like you said, you don't want your life to go by just if you're solely focused on getting into medicine kind of thing. So when I was hearing that, I was thinking like, what other things do I have in my life? And if I have other things going on in my life, do I really take out the time to enjoy those things? Like, for example, doing my makeup or skincare even, maybe like going for a walk. So I feel like with me, I've been trying to think like, when do I want to do my actual schoolwork, and when do I want to take time for myself? And taking that time out for myself is kind of like what I do to separate my lives kind of from education to what I actually enjoy. But then now the issue I'm having is, am I actually taking time for myself for self-care, or am I just taking that time out to do my things for Instagram? Like, it's kind of starting to overlap, and it makes it a bit more difficult, but I think I just need to work on planning a bit more and um, realizing how to separate my time effectively, I guess.
I think as long as you're enjoying it as well, that's the kind of biggest sign, isn't it? As soon as you start, if you find yourself being like, oh, I need to post now as a chore, then you might think, okay, actually, maybe I need to just have a day to myself.
Yeah.
Something about knowing yourself as well, that isn't it? Like getting to learn what your own signs are for actually needing to slow down and stop, or needing a break, or whatever it is. I realised that often when I felt like that, I couldn't remember the things that made me feel good. So I, for a while, had just a list of the things I like to do when I felt stressed written on a whiteboard in my room. So that when I was in that feeling of like, oh, I need to do something different, I'd be like, right, hang on, go for a walk, crossword, sit. And I would just do one of the things, and it just took the stress out of it. But that was helpful.
What advice would you share to a younger self, or any creative that's listening?
I think probably, and inspired by our conversation a bit today, I would tell myself to talk more about how I was feeling and pay attention more to how I was feeling. And that was okay, because I think it's taken me a long time as an adult to really tune into my emotions and what they are, and that they're valid. But I found that as I've been able to do that, everything's been a lot easier. And the more I've spoken about them, the more I found people that have gone through exactly the same thing. And there's a huge amount of comfort and also learning when someone else has gone through the same experience, had the same feelings, and can both empathize and share what's worked for them. So that's probably the advice I would give to myself.
I would say that, like I was saying before, that, which is what I've been working on now actually, is that if I'm getting an opportunity, no matter how how scary, or like however much I don't want to do it, if I just like put those feelings aside and just be like, you know what, let me just go for it, even if I don't think I can do it perfectly, or if it doesn't go well, it doesn't go well. But I at least I did it, and that's kind of what I'm trying to live by, which is really difficult and is easier said than done. But as long as I can pretend that is working, then I guess that's one of the main things, because I feel like with me is, if I don't do something, I'll just regret it. And that feeling of regret, I feel like, is worse than the feeling of being like, okay, maybe I didn't enjoy it. So I think that's one of the biggest advice I would give.
I think I would hug her and just say, please stop overthinking and talking so horribly to yourself, and just, you're going to get yourself through. So just stop it. All right. Stop worrying. Stop being so scared and like worry, and just relax. And please just believe in yourself, you silly sausage. That's what I'd say.
Well, thank you so much, gals, for today.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure talking to you.
And Sinead, I was thinking maybe at the end of this we could play Last Love.
Oh, yes, please.
Sweet.
Thank you, everyone. It was
Yeah.
lovely
Thank you
to.
so much.
Lovely.
That was
to
like a
meet you.
hug and on the computer.
It was.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Lovely to see you all. Lovely to meet you, Sinead.
Have a lovely day, gals.
You too,
Bye.
guys. Bye.
Bye.
I tell you how I feel about it. I don't wanna feel no way. Cause if I'm really being honest, I haven't even missed you today. Marathon that we go through just to keep them out of you. Every day I'm running round and keep me going. If I think too much, I remember falling. All the things I do to stop the thought of you from coming. Cause nothing gets in the way like your last love. Last love. In the corner of my mind, when I was yours and you were mine. Last love. Nothing gets in the way like your last love. I tell you how I feel about it. I thought I let the feelings go, but every time I dream on it, it's like I see the truth unfold. On the surface I seem good, but my subconscious, it shines through. Every day I'm running round and keep me going. If I think too much, I remember falling. All the things I do to stop the thought of you from coming. Yeah. 'Cause nothing gets in the way